Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Maureen. We'll begin with our top stories. Samba Court of First Instance has sentenced Joel Takwa, an alleged rapist of two children, 7 months and 7 years respectively, to death by a shooting. The death penalty was pronounced today after years of battling for justice for the two little girls for years now. And as days narrow down to the commemoration of National Day, May 20, preparations have intensified at all fronts. At the May 20 Boulevard this Wednesday, it was the final general rehearsals for the military and civilian march past. And the traditional fabric and dub, the cultural heritage of the people of the Grassfield, is gradually losing its value. We talk about this in this edition of the Primetime Newscast in English language. Those are major stories. Good evening once more. Suspected fraudsters in some documents in police custody here in the city of Douala. ID cards and fraudulent physical stamps for administrative documents and signed by competent authorities, but rejected as a result of the fake stamps. The suspects have confessed and admitted to their crimes before the law. How the penetrated services of administrative officers is what we are yet to find out. The rejection of these files affects hundreds of victims who have fallen prey to their illegal activities. Security experts say the effects on Cameroon's economy are enormous. Citizens have thus been cautioned to be on the alert and buy their physical stamps at official sale points and avoid entrusting their official documents to intermediaries. Here's an excerpt of the Commissioner of Police in charge of the investigations gathered by our reporter, Saleh Sherifa.
On 12 May 2023, an operation made by our collaborators of the Anti-Crime Brigade led us to arrest 2 individuals. One of them was specialized in falsification of administrative documents and other documents like a national identity card. After the exploitation, this individual will be sent to the prosecutor.
And we now talk about the Hajj. Some 3,165 pilgrims will be leaving Cameroon for pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia next month. It is to ensure the hitch-free truth that a commission in charge met this Tuesday in Yaoundé to evaluate a journey so far. Paul Atanganji, the Minister of Territorial Administration, is the chairman of the Hajj Commission. Yes, an except.
All the commissions have presented their reports as to Hajj of 2022. We have certain things that have to be corrected, and we have asked all the commission charged to work with all the stakeholders so that the pilgrims should travel. We'll have departures from Garoua, from Douala, and from Yaoundé as usual. And as I said, we'll be transporting about 3,165 pilgrims. So this year, President Paul Biya gave a grant of 1 billion CFA francs, which was distributed to all those who are traveling. The first thing is that the pilgrims must have to go on time, and I think that all the group leaders can testify that as for now, we don't have cases of pilgrims who are abandoned in airports as it used to be the case. You go to the airport, you stay for 2, 3, 4 days without having a plane. No, those things cannot happen again. Secondly, after the Hajj, they must come back home, because most of the time when the planes are not available or the flights, you stay again in Mecca or Jeddah for 3 weeks and you without a plane. So all those things have been corrected. I think that as for now, so far so good, we are on the right track, and the pilgrimage will start as the schedule, and we have a working program which will be respected.
The population of Ndian in the southwest region of Cameroon have expressed satisfaction following the initiative of 18 Amazonian fighters or separatist fighters who yesterday laid down weapons, which say it will go a long way to bring back peace in their area. These they told our reporter on the ground, Ines Ondwa Mbala.
Dibo David Dibo alias General Baron and Jerome Epe alias General G-Boy, alongside 18 Amazonian fighters, have surrendered their arms. The 18 separatist fighters, who before Tuesday, May 16, were operating in Indian division of the Southwest region, left the bushes to embrace peace.
Baron, these are my boys. So I will use this opportunity to thank Papa Dio for receiving me while I'm still alive. The SDO receiving me while I'm still alive. So I just want to thank Mr. Sekedi the Mayor and Papa Pierre. So I will make a clean apology for the government to work as a Cameroonian.
The 18 separatist fighters laid down weapons in Mundimba and met local administration, defense and security forces, plus the population of Ndian division to express their regrets following numerous acts of violence and atrocity they perpetrated within Ndian division.
And we now take you to Kongsamba, where the Court of First Instance has slammed jail death penalty to an alleged rapist, Joel Takwa. He is said to have raped 2 children, 7 months and 7 years, respectively, to death by shooting. He will. That's the death penalty that was served him today by the Kongsamba Court of First Instance. The death penalty was pronounced today after years of battling for justice for the 2 little girls for years now. But before paying for his crime, he has to pay the sum of 92 million francs CFA as damages to the family. It should be noted the accused is supposedly to be an uncle to the children. He is said to have raped and sodomized the children, killing them on the spot. The collective of lawyers say they are bent on ensuring the oppressed and other vulnerable people have justice for their crimes committed against them. The incident happens in 2008. We'll come back to that in a subsequent editions of Newscast. As this narrowed down to 20th May commemoration in Cameroon, preparations have been intensified at all fronts at the May 20th Boulevard in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. This Wednesday, it was a final rehearsals for the military and civilian march past. More on the story with our reporter, Hysen Cha.
The themes of what will obtain here on the 20th of May 2023 with the arrival of the President of the Republic, marking the start of activities. And under the command of General Buba Dobe Krio, commander of the 5th Military Region and coordinator of this edition of the National Day, the military parade is launched with the gendarmerie display of patriotic and songs of national unity. Leading the traditional march past are the squadrons of the Presidential Guard Foot Troops, closely followed by the Combined Service Military Academy, EMIA, with fantastic display. The National Gendarmerie, the different army units like the Detachment of Special Forces, the Rapid Intervention Battalion, the B, the Air Force and the Navy, the Firefighting Brigade, ex-servicemen, the National Security here, led by trainees of the National Advanced Police School with royal steps. Not forgetting the Penitentiary Administration and the Custom Department in the general rehearsals, as well as the motorized march past. Observed with keen attention, the commanders dish out firm instructions to the heads of the squadrons to fine-tune all aspects before the D-Day. And just like the military, civilians selected to be part of the May 20th appointment were here to showcase their readiness. Primary and secondary schools, higher institutions, as well as the political parties marching past the presidential tribune before the watchful eyes of a host of ministers and other dignitaries.
Meanwhile, political parties are equally bracing up for the National Day celebration in Cameroon after years of boycott. The CRM party is preparing a comeback, but they can't march in the political capital Yaoundé. They can't march at the 20 May Boulevard in Yaoundé. The SDO for Fundi has made it clear that only political parties in parliament will be part of the show. Maurice Kamto, CRM will only limit themselves in the regions. More the story with our reporter Beatrice Ngamu.
The Army and the Nation on display here at the Yaoundé 101 Air Force Base. Crowded with curious public, people of all walks of life, the kids, adults alike, out to discover the defense and security forces in its simplicity. The joy of entering and descending a fighter Air Force plane arouses dreams and ambitions, especially in these primary school kids. The defense and security forces open the opportunity to know more about what they are and capable as far as their services are concerned. It is not only about hearing, feeling, but also touching and wearing.
We want the population to know that we are some kind of shield to the population. They're not afraid of us because we are there for protect them.
The criminal unit of National Gendarmerie, the operational system in the face of crime, the do not cross yellow tape and importance, the 113 Operation Center for Emergencies and Distress. Another attraction, the shooting session, focusing and getting the target at 1 or 2 shots, the bullets used not same as what the military use. Killing the fear factor goes with trying, and many there, some shaky, others doing it like future professionals.
Je suis très content d'être venu avec ma famille, voir les avions, découvrir de nouvelles choses.
Police call with intervention robot, using its camera for check routes before going, the mobile passport service like police ban, the gadget seized in units in charge of universities and schools, the Central Judicial Research Service, and the material of technical and scientific police unit on display. What many at times watch on television was at their reach. The army allowing the children to dream, holding, using their guns, like long view, casket, with little survival techniques, once in the forest or stranded area, also revealed. The armed forces, gendarmerie, national police, customs department, arousing interest, especially among the youths.
We now focus on the traditional fabric and the cultural heritage of the people of the grass field is gradually losing its value, being a unifying element in Cameroon. Experts and Bamoun elites have been brainstorming on how to modernize, upgrade, and preserve the dub. Let's find more about this cultural fabric by our reporter Gladys Ambo Ziba.
This is one of the unifying elements in Cameroon. The fabric, known as the ndop, is part of the ancient history of the people of the grass field, that is, from the west and northwest regions. The fabric, which in the yesteryears was meant just for elites, is today popularly used in some traditional events. The Bamouns, for example, use the fabric for funerals, commonly called tiaya. How to modernize, upgrade, and preserve this cultural heritage is the goal of this meeting that has brought together young people in Fumban in the west region of Cameroon. The ndop fabric is an ancestral practice which is losing its importance. My objective is to have an ancestral reconnection to permit children to go to the source of this technical know-how which is gradually disappearing, and also to show them the difference between the ndinga and ndop, and equally the language and symbol of the fabric which is worn during joyful and sorrowful ceremonies. Irrespective of their tribes, many Cameroonians have fallen in love with the traditional fabric, which is generally made up of striped woolen cotton sourced locally. The stripes of cotton are painstakingly sewn together by hand into bigger pieces of fabric. The decorative uniqueness of the ndop fabric has cultural and socio-political significance.
Ce nom ndop vient de ndap,
The name DOP comes from NDAP. I know the late Sultan Joya was inspired on the design through the double-headed snake. The fabric is not only physical but also spiritual because it gives us that direct connection with the ancestors. The circle on the fabric is a circle of life which represents the spiritual and the physical world as well as the roundabout where the dead and the living meet. It should be noted that the prices of the NDOP fabric ranges between 40,000 and 100,000 CFA francs.
And strategies for a more competitive audiovisual sector in Cameroon is under or was under debate here in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. The reflections came in prelude to an exhibition scheduled for June 17 to June 24, 2023. More in the following story. Read our reporter, Saleh Sherifa.
Preparations are gearing up in prelude to the first edition of an exhibition of the advances and challenges in the audiovisual sector in Cameroon and Africa at large.
We have many problems at that level. This exhibition will be maybe the occasion to look at all those problems together so that we can find solutions that will give us many, many strength to go ahead and to give what all the televiewers are waiting.
On the sidelines of the press briefing, the organizers seized the occasion to pay homage to late Martinez Zogo and Anyen Deso, journalists and people of the audiovisual world. Bringing out the problematic Cameroonians face and the audiovisual world, it is time to reinforce communicating ideas and concepts.
We think that all those problems can find solutions only if we are together.
According to them, it is high time to concretely address and fix the problems plaguing the sector in order to reinforce its capacities to boost job creation. The press briefing was to discuss on the presentation of the Internal Audiovisual Exhibition of Cameroon, which will hold from June 17 to June 24, where representatives of the sector from different African countries will take part.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime News on Canal International. But coming up next is the brief with Lil Piaget. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.